Photography is looking very, very good, I have to say. The most dead-on obvious is this portrait, and I find it haunting and beautiful at the same time. Some of the other photography is more fabricated and more dreamlike, and I like that as well. But I think of Struth, I think of some of the Germans who are taking large format images in portraiture, and the notion of representation of who someone is, the eye as the inlets to the soul, it begins to take on a real pathos, which in this image really works for me. The other one, for some reason, was almost too romantic. It struggled to want to be something else. This does it without struggling. It's just there, and the white on white, the gray hair and the white shirt, and the hair bleeding into the black, dark background is very suggestive. Adam Foos, I think of Foos here, is a multimedia piece, but this person has done their own thing with it. It's got a deep space to it. It's got a lot of forms hovering on the surface, but there's a nice middle ground as well. So it's, for me, it's got all the abstraction that I appreciate so much. The printmaker here with the child and the mother nestled in the arm reminds me of Leonard Baskin, who was a brilliant, brilliant printmaker, expressionist. Woodblock was a wonderful medium for him. It allowed him to gorge deeply and to print simply. And this has all of those qualities, and whoever made it is, you know, there's a nice kind of mystery between that child image and the mom. And actually, I don't know, I think there's a story I've been reading to my kids, which is about a mother who nestles her child in her arms at night, and the child grows. It's a boy child, and ends up becoming a man. And as he gets bigger, she gets more diminutive because she gets older. And the last scene is the man coddling his mom, which is like makes me cry every time I think about it. But so this idea of the mother becoming the baby is this interesting role reversal, which in life and with aging is maybe inevitable. Drawings. I'm wild about drawings, and there were a lot that came through the process in which I saw in digital format. It's very hard to know what you're looking at until you get to it, but I was hopeful, and what I've come to see is what I was hoping to see. That is, it's a drawing that has all of the detail, all of the obsessiveness, and all of the suggestiveness of a really interesting piece. So is it a hair piece? Is it a landscape? Is it a floating world? Is it a beehive? It really doesn't matter, because it's all of those things at the same time, and it's also a very simple kind of drawing. Simplicity was something that I liked about this piece too, and it reminded me of new image painters, Moskowitz and Rothenberg, and just comes out of that tradition of looking for a simple shape which can mean a lot of different things, and the black and white, the contrast, enhances that simplicity and that bipolar nature. Another great painting that I liked very much, which of course reminds me of Ansel Kiefer, but I think, or Donald Sultan, but it's very provocative, of Gary Simmons, who recently painted a series of buildings on fire. But it's, for me, again, it's got that requisite amount of suggestive poetry, where it's not about something per se, but it's got a lot of animation and possibilities to it. This image, I don't know, it just grabbed me. I just thought, you know, and I looked at 3 or 4 by this person. It's somewhere between painting and printmaking, between illustration, between Thomas Benton and Salvador Dali, between postcards and folk art. I don't know, it's got a lot going on in it. So I just thought it was a creative approach to something that is, you know, kind of Americana. Yeah. This could take me forever. So, I mean, you know, I could say something about each thing. I love it. Interesting painting. Nice combination of landscape, abstraction, and pure geometry. And just, I like the way it was executed. Again, photography, there's a lot of very interesting photography. It's a medium that is a little bit overrated now because there's so many possibilities to it. There's so many things that you can do with it. It's very easy to be slick and trite at the same time, but those folks that truly understand it and use it to bring their own vision into focus, those are the ones that I tend to gravitate towards. So I feel that this image has done it. The two images at the back wall and the one on the left, I think, is a killer image, actually. I'm very intrigued by it. Immediately thought of Weimar photo collage, collage more than photography, but someone like Gregory Crutzen now, who is a photographer who's fabricating,
sure.
And photoshopping. And I'm not quite sure exactly what's going on here in terms of the technology, but it really doesn't matter, because in the end, the image is what counts. And there's a lot to it, and it's got a seamless kind of dream reality, which I really like. The blue photograph, it's so painterly and so simple, and compared to the other photography, it really stands out in its simplicity, and that drew me. Lovely little painting of someone standing either in a store or a bookstore or whatever it might be. I just like the way it's painted. There's a lot of gesture to it, and here's an example too where it doesn't have to be big. Nothing has to be big in life. The smallest things are the most brilliant sometimes, and I love this passage here. I love its, it actually reminds me of Leipzig and East German school of painting, where this kind of scumbled brushstroke is used to activate the surface, but you can actually tell what's going on here, especially with the figures. So nice little painting. Drawing, photography, drawing, we know it's a landscape, but there's so much more happening in it, and the process has come to bear on a more abstract image, and I've always appreciated that. This, for its Orientalism and decorative qualities, its tapestry qualities, it's very obsessively made, and it's gouache and gilded as well. Very nice. There were a number of these kind of things that I looked at, but this one really stood out. And in a way, for me, it's almost a little too decorative, and I almost would have taken it out, but I think it's so well done, and there's so many levels to it. And as you get to the bottom, the line is drawn between another, that it's both Japanese, it's both about, Mondrian and Japanese art, or, something very abstract and something very realistic and ornamental. So I like that. I've actually seen Karen's work before, and she's very involved with Agnes Martin, and very deferential to Agnes Martin's work, the simplicity of the line, the grid structure, the poetry of making lines, the obsessive nature of making those lines becomes like meditation, and Agnes was well aware of that. That's how she worked. There's also a very interesting landscape quality that comes to this kind of image, which separates it from pure minimalism and makes it more about process and individuality. And then a lovely graphite drawing, which I wasn't sure what it was, and I was amazed to find out that it was a graphite drawing, because I thought it was a photograph. It looked so photographic in its gray tones. But it's a nice imaginary little scene in another kind of world. I think of Sylvia Plath's Bell Jar and Darth Vader out of Star Wars. I don't know. Is this okay?
This is great.
All right. Very biomorphic.